is the art of wrestling with professional wrestler Colt Cabana.
It's Colt Cabana.
And a 1 and a 2 and a 3. All right. Come on in, let's do it. You're about to listen to The Art of Wrestling, a professional wrestling podcast. It's a life podcast. It's a personal journal. It's an entryway into the minds, souls, hearts, lives of people involved in the world of professional wrestling. I am your host. My name is Colt Cabana. I'm good. I'm a guy who's good. I'm a guy who's been shouted out by a thing that was done with the president. I'm a guy who's done thing. I'm a thing-doer guy. Most importantly, though, I am a professional wrestler. And I am sitting here live in the studio, apartment in Chicago, Illinois. Before we go any further, this is a fan-supported and listener-supported podcast supported by people just like you. We give it to you free of charge every single Thursday on ColtCabana.com, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts from. A couple great ways that you can support, rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. Tell a friend, Periscope, Twitter, Instagram, however you got to do it. If you got a couple of bucks in your pocket, head on over to ColtMerch.com or DigitalColt.com. T-shirts, buttons, pictures, posters, DVDs, digital downloads, premium podcasts. I'm going to put up those new movies, I swear. I also have some new 8x10s that I'm going to put up soon. One is me taking a selfie with you, and I'll draw your face like you have been on this very podcast. We'll see if that sells. I thought it was a genius idea. That will soon be available, but it's all up on ColtMerch.com and DigitalColt.com. Hey, I think I'm back to normal. I think I'm good. I did wake up very early this morning, but I think that doesn't matter. I'll get to sleep at a nice time tonight. We're back on track, back on schedule. I got basically, this is how I map out my life. I got like 6 weeks of no crazy traveling up until Edinburgh Fringe Festival in August. So like just weekends. I got some long weekends. I got some Thursdays through Sundays and Thursdays through Mondays. But as long as as long as I got that Monday and Tuesday home, I think life will be okay. So from here on out, it's going to be a good start to a Chicago summer. It's going to be a good start to everything. I'm excited. Tommy End on the show. And this is the start of the European series. Not really. I got a couple Euros on the show. Tommy End from the Netherlands. I think that's right. We actually go over it, and I still don't know what's going on. Netherlands. That region. I've been on shows with Tommy for years now. Dating back to when I first started going to Germany for WXW, and I was in Germany a couple of weeks ago for WXW. I remember wrestling Robbie Brookside in my first WXW match ever, and him coming to the ring to I'm the Crusher by some German hardcore band. German fans all around the ring. You gotta understand, I was like 24 years old, this Jewish kid in Germany. I understand that means absolutely nothing, and one of my favorite things ever is when the German fans buy the I Star Colt shirt. But, at a time, maybe young and who knows, not knowing that the world is cool. At least according to me, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And there's crazy German dances and just the amazing WXW crowd just going nuts for Robbie Brookside and welcoming me. The good thing about me was I was an American. If I was just a German wrestler, who knows? I could have just been passed over. They could have been like, this guy sucks. But I think that's the beauty of how you make an impression, especially for those young wrestlers out there. You gotta be different. For me, I was over in England at the time, so it was an easy move. I'd been doing a lot of ROH, and I was, a bit of an indie standout at the time, so it was a smart move for them to bring me over, and I stood out because I was an American. I was an American wrestler. That's how I stood out. Still at that time finding out who I was as a wrestler, but able to make a bit of a splash that I've been going to Germany off and on for the past, 11 years now. And it's not stopping. It's not about me, though. That's where I first met Tommy, and we've all watched him come into himself as a wrestler. We get into that, and it's nice to see. Just got put on the Battle of Los Angeles for PWG, and he's an example of just putting in your time, doing it right, getting better gradually, and then all of a sudden, all these years of doing this, it's like, hey, I'm good at this. That's how it works. It's just that easy. This is a fun talk. We get into some weird shit. He gets into some weird shit, but it's fun. It's casual. It flows very nice right after a match. You'll hear it all. For me, like I said, I'm back. Sadly, Chris and I were not successful at Korakuen Hall, but I think we made a fun little impact, if you will. We had nice matching outfits. I don't know if you guys saw that on my Instagram, but that counts. Got points for that, matching outfits, right? And I think Chris and I will be doing a lot more tagging in the future, so I'm excited about having Chris Hero as a tag partner, big in USA, obviously a play off of big in Japan. and hopefully a nice, long, successful tag run in Pro Wrestling Noah. Couple housekeeping notes. We did a soft revamp of ColtCabana.com thanks to Brady Russell and his help. All these episodes will be on the front page via the SoundCloud link, and I'm working to make that more fun and effective. Also, doing a comedy show before I go to Edinburgh, doing a comedy show in Dallas, Texas on a Thursday, July 30th. Tickets, I think, go up Friday, which is tomorrow if you're listening to this on Thursday. So if you're in the Dallas area or around, we're going to do the comedy show on a Thursday at 8:30. Sound good? Good. I'm sure there's more stuff, but I don't know. That'll come eventually. All right, Song of the Week this week is brought to you by the Flex Belt. Getting strong abs can take a lot of time and hard work and doesn't always work with tight schedules. Now you can get a complete ab toning workout every day no matter what your schedule with the Flex Belt. Go to flexbelt.com/lowercase Colt to see how celebs and professional athletes use it to keep their abs sexy and toned. The Flex Belt is the first ab belt cleared by the FDA for toning, firming, and strengthening the stomach muscles. Get a perfect ab workout in just 30 minutes while you're trolling on Twitter, listening to podcasts, or driving to a wrestling show. The Flex Belt uses EMS technology or electronic muscle stimulation to flex all your stomach muscles. For you, that's your upper, lower, and obliques all at the same time. This technology has been used in athletic training for decades and is one of the best kept secrets in professional sports. I got a Flex Belt. They sent me one. I love what it's doing. You'll see results in 4 to 8 weeks with a 60-day money-back guaranteed. You have nothing to lose. For my fans, they are offering a 25% off discount on the Flex Belt. That's a $50 savings. Go to flexbelt.com/Colt. Again, that's flexbelt.com/Colt and get your abs ready for SummerSlam. All right, the song this week is from a group called Heel Turn. I've wanted to play this one for a while now. I didn't know when the right timing was. I wanted to do it while he was with us, and he was going to be on the show, and I didn't get time to get to him, which I am very sad about. I think you'll dig it. It's a real good song, and hopefully we help celebrate his life and his legacy. The song's called A Man Named Paul Bear. Enjoy it. We'll be back with Tommy End.
Knew a man named Paul Bear, he died. Betrayed the Undertaker for mankind. Taker shot a fireball and burned his face right off. Knew a man named Paul Bear, he died. Knew a man named Paul Bear, he died. Cement filled a box with him inside. Heyman thought he was clever till Taker pulled the lever. I knew a man named Paul Bear, he died. Knew a man named Paul Bear, he died. It shot him to a wheelchair up high. Kane tipped the ladders and he made quite a splatter. I knew a man named Paul Bear, he died. Knew a man named Paul Bear, he died. Orton left him in a freezer tied. King showed up to free him, but reckon I don't need him. I knew a man named Paul Bear, he died.
We could start it with Maddie in here.
Hey guys.
Are you leaving?
I love podcasting, but I'll leave.
You're not wanted.
Okay.
This is a first for me. I'm naked. I've never done it in my gear so quick. I want to explain to everybody. Hi, I've never done anything. Tommy, how are you?
I'm good. I'm less sweaty than you are, but still
yeah. Do you think
coming down of that high.
You are?
Yeah, man.
Still?
I had a good.
Well,
match.
you're from
Fun.
you're from Amsterdam. So
Yes, I am.
Which high do you speak of?
Not that high.
Okay.
Not Matt high.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, Matt.
For any reason, we don't want. I was gonna say we don't want to say to protect his image, but he also came on this podcast and talked about a Peruvian excursion that was way more than anything legal in Amsterdam.
Well, that's what you think.
Yeah.
However.
Cool, Tommy. It's good to have you on.
Thank you.
As I look at my time wasting skills. Bye, buddy.
Bye, Matt.
Evan Bourne leaving the locker room. And yeah, we're like
name dropping.
Yeah, oh, but he's been
Former
on,
name
he's been on every single week, I feel. Yeah, I'm in gear and boots. You're. This is.
I don't know what I'm in. I'm in travel mode.
This is our lifestyle.
Pretty much.
Have you? I feel like if I don't get, because the way I do these podcasts sometimes, is like I hope that we're both on the first half so I can do this the second half of the show.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was right before the main. You were on first, so it's like there's no time to really get it in.
Yeah.
And so I feel like
way to explain that difference in.
Thank you. Sorry, but I feel that like if we don't do it before this while the main event's on, like we're not gonna get it done. So like I want to get it done. I don't know. Like does that make any sense to you? Like
It does, man.
But I'm saying like get something done or in a hurry to go somewhere.
Well, obviously this is the new experience for you, so let's see how it pans out.
No, but I'm saying, have you ever I'm segueing this into anything of like feeling rushed to leave a show or like I feel like rushed to like get this match done with and then come over and podcast with you. Yeah. You haven't done you've done late drives.
Yeah.
Right? So you're in
the one the last 2 days was horrible.
At what time did you leave the show?
We left at 1 a.m, and it was a 6-hour drive after an 11.5-hour drive.
Fuck, see, that's the worst. Why don't we leave?
I'm still feeling it.
Why don't we leave at 11? Why don't we leave at 10?
I don't know. It's like for some reason you kind of like drag things out when you're done. I don't know. You're like your brain's coming off of a bunch of adrenaline and all sorts of processes that go in inside your body. And you're like, your care factor's gone.
Yeah.
Up to the point where your care factor comes right back on, and you're like, oh shit, should have thought this.
It comes on about 4 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Where nobody wants to drive.
No, you can't sleep. You're like, damn it.
Fuck. Who's in the car with you?
It was Michael Dante, my infamous tag team partner from the Sumerian Death Squad. Name dropping.
Why infamous?
No, I'm just being
just your partner. Okay, yeah.
If you're listening, you are very famous, though. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I got you covered.
You're in fame. You're infamous.
Who else was in the car? We did West Section Wrestling. It was me, Dante, Sasha Keel, and the camera guy, Short. So.
Oh, yeah, they were saying you get... Fuck, I even forgot about that, because I was in Munich.
Yeah.
I feel like a real privileged asshole.
Oh, God damn it. You were there as well.
Yeah.
We were both there.
Yeah.
See?
But I knew... I flew to Munich and I flew to Bremen.
Yeah.
But you...
No, I had to come all the way from Amsterdam.
Drive to Munich, drive...
This was my travel. It was Thursday morning, too. I got home Thursday morning, too. And I had to be up at like 6:30 to drive. It was supposed to be 8.5 hours, but we ran into 6 traffic jams. Fuck. As you do on a Friday.
They have those over here? on the Autobahn?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, horrendous. There's like, for some reason, I always feel that whenever we do road trips, they just like, oh, these guys from Hollywood, let's do roadworks. Let's just, block everything. So it turned out to be 11.5 hours. And as I said, like we started driving back at 1 a.m. It was a 4.5-hour trip back to the train station to drop the camera guy off. I got 1 or 2 hours of sleep in before I had to get on a train in a city called Wiesbaden to go to Frankfurt to take a 4-hour train back to Amsterdam Schiphol to travel by plane, obviously, to England to do Download Festival. Another 4 hours sleep, maybe, into Revolution Pro where we are right now.
Yeah.
So I'm running on fumes right now. So if I'm saying anything weird, it's because like my brain's not processing anything.
Yeah.
Right now.
No, it's okay. I'm the same way. Like my travel schedule has been crazy, and I wish.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We'll make it up somewhere. I feel that like in 2 weeks I have a Monday planned out. Like
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Mine's tomorrow.
Is it okay?
Yeah. Like I fly back. He's like, when do you want to fly back? You want to fly back afternoon or like in the morning? I'm like, in the goddamn morning, so I can be a hermit all day at home. Close
you want
the
to fly in the morning? See, I would.
I do. Yeah.
My technique is if I have that Sunday off, I want to fly at like 3 so I can sleep till like 1.
I just want to get it over with.
You want to just get it
I just want to. I'm like that Band-Aid guy. Just yank it off and just get it over with. I'm done with it. I want to go home. I want to close my curtains, listen to music, and lie on my bed all day like an angry 15-year-old.
What music are you listening to?
That's really different though. Like it goes from hardcore to jazz, really.
Jazz.
Yeah.
And so if we paint a picture for those that don't know.
Yeah.
Tattooed all up and down, although your legs aren't tatted, huh?
Yeah, my feet are and my thighs are.
Okay.
So I'm starting my legs in 2 weeks.
I'd imagine, yeah. All up and down. Yeah, I would call you a hardcore man.
Yeah.
Very hardcore. Who's coming in? Okay,
oh,
he's
it's
back.
Return of the Matt.
He really wanted to get in this thing. He was very nice about it.
You just come and sit here? Hey.
Okay, he's got it. Also, a tattoo on your eye.
Yes.
Which to me is symbolic of You murdered a man in prison.
Death, and all sorts of gnarly things. No, it's actually there's more explanation behind that. It's a crescent moon for obviously those who do not know.
Not a tear. From far away, it's a teardrop, and you murdered a man in prison.
I've actually heard that one. Oh, look at this guy's got a teardrop under his eye. He probably killed someone. I've legit heard that in England. I was like, no, it's a crescent moon. God damn it.
You also have Chris Hero tattooed on your knuckles. Oh, anti-hero. I didn't see the anti, sorry.
Yeah, we actually used that once.
What's that?
For a storyline.
Oh, that it says hero.
It's like
on
Chris
here?
Hero, and I was like, put the anti-hero in his face. It was awesome. Anyway, no, the crescent moon under my eye is for those who do know me. Well, actually, for those who do not know, my gimmick is usually kind of dark and broody. Has a lot of Satanism involved and kind of occult things. And when I was younger,
completely believable.
Which is
Which is
you
the
know
point.
it.
Yeah.
I used to be really afraid of the dark, like immensely afraid of the dark. Like as a kid, oh man, I had to sleep with the lights on, everything. But and now
There was a TV show in America called "Are You Afraid of the Dark?"
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember? Okay.
Yeah, we had that as well.
And that's how you beat being afraid of the dark.
Somewhat like that, yeah. And now, it's kind of ironic because I implement all the dark stuff, and I prefer the dark more than I prefer daytime or daylight. Basically, it's I don't know, I feel more at ease at evening.
What was the switch of not being afraid of the dark?
I think the researching into what it is I was actually afraid of.
Wow.
I read a
and at
lot.
what age?
I started reading about all this gnarly stuff when I was around 9, I guess, occult stuff and questioning religion and stuff like that, and kind of ventured out that way. And initially that scared me because of all the stuff that I was all the information I was getting through and all the weird and evil stuff that I was reading. I was always really big into supernatural things as well and the conspiracies. And I kind of progressed. And once I started realizing what it was, it kind of toned down.
At age 9 and 10, though.
Yeah, I used to drive my parents crazy with it. They would ban books.
Who put this? I mean, I not that I know, I'm not a psychologist, but how we're influenced from music, maybe from an older brother or an older neighbor.
Well, it's
That you start thinking about deep religion at 9 years old.
This is actually something I covered in an interview a while ago, and it might make this podcast turn a little bit darker. My dad kind of grew up in a cult.
Wow.
And so my childhood was kind of different. Actually, what I do in the ring is based a lot on, the stuff that I experienced when I was young and the stuff that I researched about where he came from.
Okay, can I tell you how proud I am of myself right now for not knowing that and then getting, being able to either ask or talk to you in so quick of a time.
Yeah.
That now you're telling me you grew up in a cult.
Well, in honesty, my dad got out of that when he was 15. Nowadays it's an official religion, but back in the days it wasn't an official religion.
What is it?
It's called Reformed.
Reformed Jew?
No, it's just literally the literal translation of the word is reformed.
Okay.
It's I'll say it in Dutch, which is obviously sounding like a broken transistor radius. Gereformeerd, which means reformed, literally, and it's a very dark and broody view on life and religion. It's basically you're born as a sinner, and you're allowed nothing in life. You're a man, so you work. You're a woman, so you bear children. That's it.
Why were you born a sinner?
Because Jesus died for your sins.
Okay.
So, and that's how they implement everything. Because Jesus died for your sins, you're a sinner unto the day that you die. And if you haven't worked hard enough or lived by these codes, which is basically you grew up to be the goddamn Terminator. There was no emotions. People were there were capital punishments, there were body punishments, everything. I've heard stories from my mother back in the day that was stone people. Really horrendous stuff. And my dad got out of it when he was 15. It was quite intense. And obviously,
and your mom was with him at this time?
No. My mom met him when he was 20. They're at the same age, 19, 20 years old. And he kind of was kind of a weird story. They kind of he knew my my aunt, which is my sister's my mother's sister. Sorry. And he was just some sort of vague friend, and they met up one night, and he was there, and it's I kind of need a place to sleep, and my mom was well, okay, and he just never left.
Well, that sums up is that Amsterdam or Netherlands, or what is that?
I guess that's just my mom and dad, really.
But where?
Where
in Amsterdam?
This was close to Amsterdam.
Okay,
yes, this is
for me, a foreigner that sums up.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
in my mind, stereotypical lifestyle. Yeah.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
So he stuck around. Actually, just never left, and they hit it off. And
So he was in a cult. He got out.
Yes.
But it became a thing.
Yeah.
But so like at a young age, he was telling you like, oh.
Well, no, he never told me anything. My dad and I have a really weird dynamic. Because of that, my father's obviously has a lot of problems with his emotions. I grew up very different than most kids. We also grew up very poor, so we had to, like
How poor is poor?
Really poor. Yeah, there wasn't money for things, and
Like-
in honesty though, but we were always taught that money doesn't equal happiness, or materialism doesn't equal,
a great
riches
lesson
or
to
anything.
learn.
So, was I missing out on things? Every now and then, but like when I finally got like the ability to make money for myself, I kind of just went out and just bought the toys that I never could buy when I was younger. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy them. So I bought Terminator figures and Predator figures and all this stuff because I couldn't buy them when I was like 8, 9 because there was no money, So like when I finally started doing that, I was like, one day I'll make money and I'll just buy toys. And I did that. I did just that. I still do it to this day.
That's so because there's two sides of that. There's I've never had money. Now that I have it, I'm going to make sure that I always have money. And then the other side is I've never had money, so now I'm going to spend all that because I have.
I can't take anything with me anyway. I mean, money is a weird thing, isn't it?
It's just I mean, you have that. Right, I've heard that before. Can't take it with me. Can't take it with me. Yeah,
I'd rather spend it than save it and then get killed by a car. And
fuck, man. Yeah, it drives me crazy. Because it's all and not so much because like I think I'm at the point where I'm like, oh, I think I'm okay.
Yeah,
but I wish I had that mentality, and
Sure.
in a way, I do because I don't spend any money and I have a happy life.
Yeah.
But I do have some money that I could spend, but I just don't.
Now I'm kind of the same. Like I always like stash stuff away. And I call it the in case shit.
Okay.
So the in case shit's always like
Yes.
safe. There's a level of safety. Obviously, it's not enough to.
So you have a little bit. You have to have a
yeah.
cushion, right?
Of course, yeah. My parents taught me to be smart with money as well.
Right.
But I was always like, if at one point I have enough money to do things, I'm gonna do things.
Good.
Because I think I should.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's never gonna make me like happy, but it's making the 8, 9-year-old in me happy.
That's
And I
great.
think that's important to do.
And that's also wrestling, by the way.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's why we all do this, right?
It is. No, I mean,
like
it's
pleasing
funny.
your inner child. So.
It's funny that you say that. Like and whenever I've said this before, is whenever I just think about like, man, like I don't like I love when I wrestle, but sometimes like when I watch TV and it's like I don't like wrestling. It's just like I go YouTube what I watched as a kid.
Yeah.
And it gets so nostalgic.
Yeah,
and it's just-
Same. I have the exact same. One of the things people was like, hey man, what's your favorite like WWF or WWE thing that you watch? And I was like, well, this might surprise you. I never watched WWF in my life because we didn't have it on television.
Wow.
When I was born in '85, it just got off television. There were glimpses of it. But we had New Japan and WCW.
You had New Japan.
Yes. I watched New Japan when I was a kid. That's why my style is probably the way it is, because I always thought it was like martial arts.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did a lot of Europe have New Japan?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I think Germany had WWE and some New Japan. Holland always had New Japan. And I think Spain and Italy had New Japan as well.
I wonder why America didn't play. Well, what? I mean, you guys weren't in Japanese-speaking countries. That's so interesting. I've never.
They were
heard
Dutch. They were.
Well, they were smart enough to have Dutch commentators.
Yes.
So why don't fuck?
Yeah.
Why didn't I? I'm so mad right now.
I'm missing out. Damn it.
Yeah, no, but we like. Yeah, I don't. I guess magazines is where I would see about Japanese
You would
wrestling.
get the exposure.
That's
yeah,
wild that you watched it as a kid, and you were influenced. By it.
Yeah. I was like.
Who was your favorite wrestler?
Liger.
Yeah, it was. That's so weird.
Yeah, Liger. Yeah.
Because do you think it was big? Do you analyze it like? Do you think like cartoony guy or move
No,
guy?
what I saw was martial arts. That's why I started doing martial arts, because what I saw was martial arts. So when I grew up, I was kind of like, well, what I saw on television is definitely what I want to do when I grow up. So there's a judo school over there, and that kind of looks like it. So I'm going to start doing judo. Hey, kickboxing. That kind of also looked like what I saw on television. I'll start doing kickboxing. And that's kind of how it progressed. And then by the time I was like 14, 15 years old when I started training wrestling, it's like, wait, this is completely different.
Yeah.
And, so.
Has anything gotten, besides like the level you are at in professional wrestling?
Sure.
Has any martial arts or anything gotten to that level? Does that make sense, that question?
Yeah. I used to be quite okay in martial arts. I was always a decent fighter, kickboxing wise. I was a European champion for certain martial arts, and I was a Dutch champion for also certain martial arts. But
What does that mean?
Like
you
I
tournaments?
I did so many martial arts. I've done kung fu. I've done penchak silat. Yeah, that's a mouthful right there.
Did you say Penn Gillette?
No, penchak silat.
Okay. But you won tournaments, like representing Europe?
Yes, stuff like that. And I just won normal fights with kickboxing because you can get licensed at 9 in Holland because we're such a big country for kickboxing.
Wow. So like my mind is saying like, okay, so you loved the wrestling.
Yeah.
And then you went and became the wrestler. Like, did you love martial arts?
Yes, I do.
Like, and what was your martial art? Like, what was your New Japan? And what was the other one you said you watched? WCW?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your New Japan WCW in like those worlds? Was it like Bruce Lee movies or some shit or? Does that make sense?
No. It was just
Kung Fu fighters. I don't know.
No, I don't know. Like Holland's pretty big in martial arts in general, so it's quite normal for us to have like a martial arts background, really.
Yeah, but if I love like when I was a kid, I loved baseball.
Sure.
So I loved the Chicago Cubs and I loved Kirby Puckett.
All right. Well, the guys I was always like guys like Bob Schreiber, Dirty Bob Schreiber.
Bob
Yeah, Dirty Bob.
So these were famous martial artists.
Yes.
That you followed, like you followed the wrestlers.
Yes. I would watch their fights.
Yeah.
Sam Schilt, which you probably know. Dick Frey, Melvin Manhoef, who still fights to this day.
And they were on your
Yes, they were on Eurosport.
Yeah. See, I don't feel. I just don't like. There was some Chuck Norris maybe as a kid, Like I just don't feel it infiltrated the American scene.
Well, I mean, you had Rings, right? You remember Rings, yeah?
Yeah, but we didn't watch it on television.
Oh, we did.
Yeah. Okay.
We had it on Eurosport.
See, yeah.
Because like there were so many Europeans doing it, so we would have Rings Japan and Rings Holland, and we would I would get tapes from like Rings Holland, and I would watch Rings Holland, and I would watch the Pank Price fights on Eurosport.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then did you ever? So like, I've been able to wrestle my heroes, right?
Sure.
Did you the guys I watched on TV?
Did I ever fight them? No,
Yeah.
because like by the time I started, they were like too old.
Is that
And
how that
I
works?
trained with them though.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually still teach. I teach wrestling at Team Schreiber, which is UFC fighter Stefan Struve's gym, with Bob Schreiber. I still teach kickboxing to this day. Who else did we have? When I was younger, I trained with Peter Arts. So for those who do know martial arts and kickboxing, K1 specifically, people know Peter
He's
Arts.
actually the arts of martial arts, right? It's Lee Marshall and Peter Arts. Is that right?
Well, the name's spelled completely different.
Oh, okay.
It's more like A-Arts.
Oh, sorry.
Like you would spell aorta, basically.
I'm glad you laughed at my joke, though. I appreciate it. So
No one else's, by the way. You see what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair enough. So you did all this kickboxing martial arts with no money?
Yeah.
What did you just scramble up some bucks? Did you have any?
No, my parents paid for it.
They did pay for
Yeah,
it,
my
but they
parents
were
were
broke.
Well, it's not really expensive to do martial arts in Holland.
Okay, I don't know.
It's
You got to remember, like you got to treat me like a baby here. Like I'll be honest, I didn't look at a map before I did this, and I couldn't I don't even know the difference between Amsterdam and the Netherlands. I think they're the same thing.
I've actually had that question about America. Isn't Amsterdam like a country in Europe? Like,
See, I don't mean to be an asshole, but no, Amsterdam's the city.
Amsterdam's the capital of Holland. Yeah,
And
I'm from Holland. I'm Dutch.
What's Netherlands?
That's the same. Holland's the old pronunciation for the Netherlands. Holland actually means wood country, and because Holland used to be covered in forest.
Okay.
And the Netherlands is more of the new way of, well, I wouldn't even say new way, but it's more of the more accepted way of pronouncing Holland.
Okay. And English is your first language?
No, Dutch is my first
Dutch
language.
is your first language. But English is just taught like it. Well, everyone speaks unbelievable English.
A lot of people do, yeah.
So not everybody.
No, not everyone. Most people do, though, and if they don't, they'll speak enough words to save themselves or direct you in the right coffee shop.
Yeah, but so what? I mean, it's just taught, or you guys knew that you had to, or your parents were like, you should be?
No, in our school system, we get taught English and German and French.
Is your German and French just as good?
My French is so-so. My German's quite okay.
See, we're just assholes like Americans. I mean, we take I think Spanish and French is enough, but like maybe 10% of like a high school like would be really good at speaking Spanish. I feel like if and I feel everyone else like really takes it seriously. I think we're just are we looked at as like egomaniac assholes?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, we are.
Definitely.
We're the kings of everything.
I think like if we look at like Western like civilization, America's like is that popular kid who's kind of like a little bit of a bully, and everyone's like, oh, okay, let Steve go. Steve's a bit of a dick, but we all accept Steve.
I'm such a Steve. Oh my god. So martial arts it's just like after school sports or whatever.
Well, yeah, and like my parents were always very supportive of like doing sports, because they were always like, sports, okay, do sports, like go do sports, please go do sports. Like I was always the kid that always played outside. I was never really inside as well.
Now the dark kids, let's say of my high school, or that I knew, that had these weird, not to be judgy, but like they weren't the sports kids, right? You know what I'm saying? They weren't the jock, and not to say jocks, but like they weren't on the basketball team or the soccer team. Yeah. Like, so do you consider yourself like a hybrid of like?
Well, I think your school hierarchy is different than
it
ours.
is. Fuck.
I mean, there's
fucking America, man.
Obviously, there's like popular kids and non-popular kids. Yeah. But
and the hierarchy from TV and from because we infiltrated everything and we expect you to know our culture, and I know fucking nothing of it. I'm such an asshole. Fuck.
It's all good. I assume you're quite popular.
Me?
Yeah. I assume you were quite good at sports.
I was good at sports, and
you were liked.
I was friends with that, right?
Yeah,
I was friends with everyone, right.
But you also liked the unpopular kids.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of me as well.
Oh, okay.
Only then I was.
Thanks for thinking of that of me, and
I was kind of the odd one out as well, because I was always like I was hanging out with the nerdy kids because I'm a huge nerd myself, and I could quote unquote hang with the popular kids, but not by it wasn't like I was like making any effort or something. I was I do think I was more like hanging out with the nerdy kids than I was hanging out with the popular kids, because the popular kids and me just had nothing in common. They were worried about going out drinking and all that stuff, and I was like, hey man, that one book you have on the universe, that's fucking dope.
Wow.
Like that's the stuff that I liked. And
what's your nerd?
Yeah, what's
yours? Universe, cults.
Are you like man. I'm high into like conspiracies, cults, history of cults, and
Are you do you have a high education schooling?
No, not so much really. I went to university. I studied sports for around 3 to 4 years, and I studied like physical mechanics and stuff like that. But not in it's not like it's a really big. It's just basically how does the body work while it's working out or like doing a certain sport. You analyze and stuff like that. Fitness instructor, like nutrition, strength training, conditioning, stuff like that, and martial arts as well. But it's not necessarily like an enormous high education. But in all honesty, I hated school.
Yeah.
Like I was never interested in the economy system of 1767. I was always like, I don't care.
I don't even remember. Like I was so against the idea of school. It's like I kind of, do you look back and wish that you had remembered that, or you remember in this?
I personally think, I mean, what do we teach kids? Like we teach kids like, no, you can be whoever you want to be, but in the given choices that were given you, because these are the classes you're going to follow, and that's that. But that's not individualism. That's giving someone an idea of individualism, but still forcing them to do something that this society wants you to do, because that's considered functional in here.
Did you feel you knew who you were at like a young age?
Hell no.
No.
I was so lost.
Really?
My God, I was a lost kid, like so lost, because like at one point there was so much going on. I mean, I was the odd one out. I was an odd kid.
Yeah. I
was driving my parents absolutely insane when asking questions about Mom, is God real? And
see, it just sounds like you know what you. I guess you're very inquisitive, but to me it sounds like you know exactly what you're going for or where you're going.
The thing is like I just never got it. The thing is like I was always so confused. I used to be 12, 13 years old, and I could not get asleep because my mind would shut off.
Yeah.
I was just relentlessly asking myself questions. And I know like a lot of people who hear this probably recognize that and go like, yeah, I was that way. Because like for me, there was like, I looked at society in a certain way because I had a different upbringing. I wasn't growing up as the next door kids. Like my dad was different. My childhood was different because my dad did, and all this stuff was happening. And for me, I questioned everything. And because of my dad running away from that cult, I started questioning religion.
Right.
I was like, but then if religion is so good, then why did my dad run away from it? So what's the essence of religion? And then just relentless questions after questions after questions. I just couldn't sleep.
How does this? So I do. It'd be fun to tie this into wrestling. Does this tie into wrestling?
Oh hell yeah! I used it for wrestling. A lot of it.
But almost like, are you questioning like? I don't know. Is there questions of like, why do we do this? Why is this guy popular?
Well,
why do people like this?
Well, we analyze, don't we?
Yeah.
Like, at least I do.
Of course.
Like if I think a good wrestler is very critical and analyzing of himself and his peers. Like if you can't dissect what you do, you can't dissect what the other person's doing to. Well, I don't know if I can use the word, but like get over, or you know,
you're more than welcome to become popular.
I'm pissing off right now.
No.
If you're not, if you don't have that, then I don't personally think that you can grow as much as you can. I mean, you can take all the feedback from everyone, but if you don't do anything but the feedback, you need to move faster, you need to move slower. Okay, man, I'll write it down, and you start moving slower. But why? You need to know, you need to understand and be able to ask yourself why and answer that question.
But the hard part about wrestling is that, and you, people will say this, but you know this because I'll say this when I teach seminars too. Is like, I'm going to tell you this, and it's not going to sink in for another 5 years. You know, so that's the hard thing about because it's so psychologically driven wrestling.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's ridiculous. You have to understand the human mind to a certain extent to make him, to make him come forward to make him, to have them react to you in a certain way that you want them to. And wrestling takes a long time to get good at, man. It's like whenever people start with me, I'm like, well, that's the first 10 years of your life fucked, basically. Because like you're either gonna do it or you're gonna break.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people who watch wrestling and get in it for like all the wrong reasons. In my opinion, the wrong reasons are, oh my god, it's so beautiful and it's all entertainment and it's fun, but at the same time, it's going to school, it's going to college, it's going to university. It's all those three things. You start back at grammar school when you start doing wrestling because you have to restart everything you know.
Yeah, but then I'm just to switch that other side.
Sure.
It's like, hey, don't forget to have fun because it's most fun thing about that.
Sure. But
has that hurt you?
But like knowledge is fun.
Okay, look at your brain, man. Your brain's fun, man. That's weird. How long have you been doing this now?
15 years.
15
I've been wrestling for 13. I started training 15 years ago.
So I like the stages of like, there's so many different stages in our career of, and I don't want to say almost like, when do you think like, oh, like was there moments of like, oh, I kind of understand this.
Yeah.
I kind of get this.
Yeah.
Those are two stages. Were there moments where that clicked for you?
Yeah, definitely.
That you remember, or like
it was like one of the things like it was I was wrestling and I was always like I'm guessing you understand what I mean by this. I was always doing too much or like going too fast because I was always like, no, I need to move faster or else they're gonna get bored like this. And at one point when I started like slowing down, actually the reaction got better and I was gaining more confidence because I saw a formula that kind of worked, and I remember like I got my click for myself and with them, and by them I mean the people.
You mean Scott Hall, Kevin Nash?
Yeah, surrounding me and started throwing toothpicks and everything, spray painted NWO everywhere.
Yeah. But we always hear less is more, slow down, kid.
Yeah.
But do you remember like somebody saying that, or do you like seeing it and you realizing to start doing it, or was it?
Again, it comes down to analyzing. Less is more, all right, but what is less is more?
Yes, of course.
Answer that question, and you're like, I don't know. But to me, it was still doing the same thing.
Do you feel it was trial and error?
Oh yeah, everything is trial and error.
Right, as opposed to like, hey, I was on a show with Honky Tonk Man. He said, hey, slow down, and I was like, oh my God! No,
it was. I don't think the epiphanies of professional wrestling came by what someone else said. It was more like analyzing myself. It was like taking in mind what people were saying and then remembering that while I was wrestling and then trying it out and analyzing what the reaction was. I mean, you just use the good word psychology, but like it's also your own psychology, your own human psyche you employ or implement in professional wrestling to get better.
I get the question, what was this is like for those interviews that you have to do, the 5 questions they send you in the email, those that are brutal. And it's like, what was the best advice anyone's ever given you? Right? And basically you saying that like summed up my answer to that. And I'm glad that you have the same wavelength. It's because I've never really remembered anyone saying something And it's always been of just trial and error and implement and trying it out and seeing it work. And like it slowly just gets into your formula.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one of my least favorite questions.
It's the same because it's always like, I mean, I can give the cliche answer of like, shut up and open your eyes, not your mouth, like, and just listen and then take notes.
Yeah.
And
Jim Ross once said, "Don't go out after midnight."
Yeah. don't feed gremlins after midnight.
Yeah. Well, that too.
No, but and that is certainly true in terms of like humbleness. And in terms of learning, because that's what you've been taught in school as well. Like, shut up, pay attention, and that's true to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But once you start progressing in professional wrestling, you gotta approach your angles different. Plus, every human being is so different in their way of thinking, influenced by how they, were brought up and everything, and all the sometimes even cultural differences. Even between America and Holland, there's like a bunch of cultural differences, and we just kind of already point them out. We already point them out. So it's so difficult to just put your hooks in there and go like, yeah, that's it. Because it can be a million things, really. You just have to find out what works for you. But finding that out is extremely difficult. And it will take, I'd say, 8 to 10 years to really go like...
And I'm so glad you said that. And like this, we're so like-minded, and like because in the last couple of years, like I've heard and seen and been on shows and seen like the rise of Tommy End almost.
Thank you.
And it's like the answer is like he's put in his time and he's figured it out, and it's gonna take 10 years of But the best part is like when you're 5 years in, like you don't think to yourself like, oh, in 10 years I'm gonna be good. You're like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. Like, hey, look at me, I'm having fun, I'm doing good.
I mean, because even with the amount of time that I spend in it now, I still sometimes think like, oh man, I watch my peers and I go like, God damn it, these guys, how did they pull it off?
Yeah.
And in the back of your mind, you go like, well, back to the drawing board. But at the same time, that's good because that keeps you hungry. I mean, the moment when you're watching a match and you're like, oh, they're really good, but is actually, in my opinion, the moment you should stop as well. Because if you don't get that hunger anymore,
if you're in the match or if you're watching
the match, and you're like, this doesn't do anything for me anymore. I see that they're good, but I don't want to go back to the drawing board.
Right.
I always want to go back to. I think the drawing board is it's a workshop.
Yeah.
It's the best place to be.
Where do you workshop?
My workshop is at home, and my workshop is. At Team Schreiber, because that's where I train. Okay. I train on 2 locations. I have my own gym.
Would you say like smaller shows also?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I remember like when I was like really set in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Like I remember like kind of those smaller indie shows. It was like, ooh, this is my opportunity to try to see what works, so I can bring it to the big stage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
You mean like IWA Mid-South?
No, but when I
used to watch that stuff over and over though.
Who'd you like?
I was you and Punk.
Hey.
I was name drop right there. I used to watch it a lot because like when I started.
Were we on TV?
Trading,
were we on TV?
No, you were not on TV.
Were we on Eurosport?
You were on my TV with the television recorder through the VCR. Kind of counts, right?
Yeah, sure. You were a big tape trader.
I wasn't a big tape.
Oh, sorry.
I was handed tapes, and I was like, I like this, I like this, I like this. And I just started watching that.
Who handed you tapes? Your trainers?
No, just my buddies.
Okay.
Just the guys I was training with. They were like, oh, man, if you like this, maybe you should check out this. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
And I just started
Was
watching.
that a new world to you? You were like,
Yes.
what is this?
Yeah. I was like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
I never even, the idea of independent wrestling never came up to me. I was like, what am I watching? What is this low budget stuff? But it's so cool.
So cool, right? And I imagine
it's so cool.
Like I'm gonna assume, just not going back to the cult stuff, but like I don't know. I feel like you're like a horror horror movie guy, maybe. Ish. Okay, like you seem like a on the fringe type of guy who likes this weird.
I like
Japanese anime, that like nobody can get on. I don't know.
Ish.
But like I guess like if you're someone who's into that like stuff, like. Yeah, seeing independent wrestling for the first time, especially if you're training as a wrestler, it's got to be pretty awesome.
It is, man.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. I like my grindhouse stuff. I like my art stuff. I like my anime. I like my horror films, but I also like mainstream stuff. Like I'm gonna go.
Well, everybody likes. I mean, good mainstream stuff is good.
Yeah.
That's why it's mainstream.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm gonna watch the fuck out of Jurassic World tomorrow.
I've got a list of movies. I got Jurassic World, Mad Max.
I have to see Mad Max.
Pitch Perfect 2.
I seen it.
It's good.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
And the Beach Boys movie.
I have not heard about that. I don't think that would come out in Holland. Maybe in like art house films or like art house studios.
I think
maybe?
it's pretty big. John Cusack plays the old. It's Brian Wilson.
It's pretty big then. Yeah.
Yeah, Brian Wilson, the head of the Beach Boys.
I haven't heard of it.
I forget what it's called, but these are. I have a whole list. And my problem is I watch all these movies on these flights, and never in the theaters. So like I kind of have to wait.
Same?
So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but I do. I mean, let's talk about your wrestling career. I mean, it's going so quick. It's pretty awesome. So being from Holland.
Yeah.
Are you impressed that I knew that now? It's like the way I see it, and correct me if I'm wrong. Like, is like America, like everyone. In my asshole way, I see everyone wants to get to America to be a wrestler, right? So in Europe, is like everyone wants to get to England, or everyone wants to get to Germany?
My goal was Japan.
Japan,
really.
Okay.
I got to Japan,
but
in
like realistic, like baby step style.
Yeah, well, baby step style to me. Remember LiveJournal?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember the days of LiveJournal?
Yeah,
I had LiveJournal as well.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point I was starting, I wouldn't say making waves, but I was starting getting booked by WXW, West Section Wrestling, and. I remember making a post, and it was like, I was like talking about my steps in wrestling of what I wanted to do. A, becoming a wrestler, duh. B, doing matches, bigger duh. And then 3 was like, becoming a wrestler in WXW, because to me, at that point, WXW had that unique underground. They were like basically the first to have that really unique underground vibe when everything else was kind of like dying down. ECW was like kind of dying down, and it wasn't really anything else that was like had that edgy feel to it. And then West Section Wrestling came up, and it kind of did have that edgy feel. All these like weird social outcasts, gathered and watched underground wrestling. And
surrounding the ring.
Yes. Slapping the mat.
Yeah.
And and I'm talking about my buddies like, Tankwad, the guy with the skull mask and everything, and all these Dutch wrestlers, we were like, West Section Wrestling, that's the place we got to be. So we started, doing training seminars there with Brookside, Romero, Chris Hero, Ian Rotten, and all these guys would come in.
So you had traveled to Germany?
I traveled to Germany to train.
How far?
Depending on where they would run, usually between 2 and 3 hours a week, and training in England as well. So, gradually started getting booked by West Section Wrestling, and it started to grow. So for me specifically, it was always like, right, the end goal was Japan, but the first goals were Germany, England, Belgium. It sounds stupid, but like France.
But I go to these small countries, and like for example, I was just in Sweden, and it's like I see these guys in their spot, and I know they want to branch out, and they're all like, "How do I branch out?" And I feel
that's the $1 million question,
right? I feel it's so harder, but I think you put it, and I guess I put it to you in baby steps wise, but you put it in terms of goals. Like it's all got to be really small goals, right? Like I'm in Sweden. I know that the internet, quote unquote, attention is maybe in Germany or England. Yeah. How do I get there, right? How do I get there? Okay, go on shows with Tommy, go on shows with Bad Bones, go, right? That's the answer. It's kind of like be seen by these guys or learn from these guys, right?
That's how you do it.
Yeah, and so you guys just were like, fuck, we got to learn from these guys.
Yeah,
we got to go there.
That's how we did it as well, and that's how we got booked.
With now still poor.
Sorry.
Still poor at this time.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So how are you paying for this stuff?
I was
jobs.
Yeah, just small jobs. I was like, I did a cleaning job when I was in university. I cleaned offices and stuff like that. Ugh. Hey man,
I know.
But
there's just something about like being a fighter, being a wrestler, and just doing these weird jobs. You don't want to be
having nerds yell at you. Clean better, nerd.
Yeah. Okay, sure. And like I guess inspiring artists. There's something about being an inspiring artist.
Yeah.
And just having that shit job that you don't want to be at, like, I think it probably drives you to be like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Well, that's the underdog thing, man. I love that. Don't you? That's the essence for me.
I love the story. I hated doing the job.
I don't.
Because like it makes for a good story.
I know that eventually, it got me somewhere.
Yeah.
And even if it didn't got me somewhere, I made the choice to do that specific thing, and I chose to be the underdog.
Fuck, man. Sometimes I say, like, I would love doing the road. I'd love driving the long hours because I knew it was like that's what the guys before me did.
Yeah.
But you fucking went up to me by saying you love doing the shitty jobs.
Why not?
because the road for no money is fun because you're still with your boys. The job is you're just in a fucking office doing absolutely like, ugh. All right.
Man, it was just my disc player on.
Yeah.
And mopping the fuck out of that floor.
Jazz. Full circle jazz.
No.
Dizzy Gillespie just blaring.
Ella Fitzgerald. No, all sorts of music, man.
Okay,
I was in everything.
Is wrestling the only job now?
Basically, yeah. I still do like I teach kickboxing and I do like strength training, conditioning, and stuff like
Cool,
that.
but
And
I mean, it's not like you're working at Blockbuster, which doesn't exist. I did it myself.
No.
It's not like you're working at.
No.
Yeah, that's fucking great, right?
Yeah,
and
it's awesome.
And so I know I cut you off before, but you said the ultimate goal is Japan, and you said you got to Japan.
Yeah, I think I think it was 2010. We were working West Section Wrestling, and they were doing stuff with Big Japan, and the promoter said like, well, we want these guys, and Bad Bones and Walter, they went before us, and we were the next in line to go. And after that, we had a couple of tours with them. It was an incredible amount of fun, great experience. I love Japan, and it was just one of those really peaceful, rewarding moments in life where you're like, wow, Mm-hmm. And every time you reach a goal, and I'm pretty sure you're on me with this, you're like, well, it's not going to get any better than this.
Yeah.
You better make the most of it, And then still, it progresses.
Yeah, and then also it's important though. It's like you're in that moment. You're in that moment.
Yeah.
But you're like, all right, in 2 weeks this tour's gonna be done, and I shouldn't be like, well, I did the goal. So, right, like it's got to be like, well, fuck, I need to go again, or I need another goal.
Yeah.
We got to start.
Yeah, you start, and you need to.
What
map
do I do?
out
I just
yourself.
hit this fucking goal, Like,
well, it's like you need to continuously map out stuff. I think it's all like natural progression if you have that mindset. Like, all right, the goal was Japan. Right, we're in Japan. Let's do Cork and Hall. All right, we did Cork and Hall. I want to wrestle in Osaka. Yeah. Right, we wrestled in Osaka.
Let's headline Osaka.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And that's like, again, it's baby steps, but in that goal that you had to go into Japan. Japan was the goal. But now that I'm in that environment of the goal, I'm going to make small goals within that goal.
Right, yeah. And you made it to America too. I saw you in Chicago. You were doing PWG.
Yeah.
So like pretty great. Did you come early in your career to America or no?
Yeah, I came in 2010 with...
I saw you at WrestleCon, right?
That was 2013.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was actually my third tour in America.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we did 2010. I had 2013 in the WrestleCon and CZW. And then the last one was with Mania Weekend Evolve, PWG, Rockstar, CZW.
AAW. You and Tommaso had a great match.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And Super Kicked in Canada.
Super Kicked?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a great promotion.
Oh, I think they're new.
Yeah, this was their fourth show, and the house was packed, man.
Oh, cool.
So much fun.
You snuck into Canada? That's a hard sneak.
No, I didn't sneak in. I got detained though. My first ever in life. I was always like, Canadian people are so friendly, yada yada yada. They were like, "What's this tattoo mean? Why do you have a tattoo on your face? What is this?" And I'm like, so why do you have tattoos on your hand? I'm like, are you here? Are you single?
This is the border.
Yeah, this is the border. Like I got detained for like she went like she's like, so who are you staying with? One of my friends, Chris Chambers, a wrestler. As one of my friends, okay, and is this Chris? Is he Canadian? I'm like, well, I'd like to hope so. And she didn't like that answer. She's like, yes or no only. I'm like, oh shit, this is serious.
Yeah.
So do you have his telephone number? So I'm like, I open up my phone, and I'm like, oh, this is it. So I turn my phone, and she just snatches my phone, puts the phone down. I'm like, can I have my phone? No, because I don't want you calling him while I'm calling him.
Wow.
Like, I have no reception here. Doesn't matter. I'm like, okay.
Wow, yeah. And the worst is if they're cute and you try to flirt with them and they'll have none of it. It almost makes me like them a little more. Actually.
And then she came back, all smiles and giggles, like, "Oh, you're all clean." I'm like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
And she genuinely thought I was a biker ganger.
Sure.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
Me neither.
Oh man, so cool. Like Japan, all of Europe,
Yeah.
America.
Yeah, I've been everywhere.
So it's just. It's continue, grow, get big, get it done.
There's some exciting things about to happen.
Exciting.
Which obviously I cannot.
Thank you for not being the guy who's like, I'm main eventing WrestleMania. That doesn't happen.
No. I'm quite reserved in that department.
Right.
So.
But good. Your things are happening.
And
if
it's happening, it's happening. And if it's not happening, hey man, it's been a great trip. It's so much fun.
It's not like it's stopping, right?
Yeah.
Like it's still continuing.
I mean, to me, like sometimes even the radar, if you know what I mean. The radar can, even being on that radar, for them to think that, all right, we're interested is sometimes the validation that you need.
Sure.
Even if it doesn't happen, it's still good to know that you've made it up to that point
Sure.
where they're like, who's this guy?
Yeah, why have I heard of this guy? Oh, it's because I've been busting my ass, and this is the plan.
The acknowledgement.
Right. Yes.
It's not always about the signature.
Sure, of course.
It's sometimes it's also just hey man, we know who you are.
Good.
That's
fucking hell, that's great, man.
It's all how you perceive. It's all how you look at it.
Awesome. You said, first of all, okay, we started this, and you're like, I'm not good at these. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
How fun! I had a fun time. I hope you had fun.
I sure did.
Yeah, good. Are you on the internets?
Twitter.com/TommyEnd or my Instagram, same handle.
What? .com? What?
What's that?
Wait, what'd you say?
Our Instagram handle is the same.
Is what?
Tommy End.
Oh, you said .com. Oh, and your .com.
Twitter.com/Tommy End.
Nobody says that.
I
say
do.
at Tommy N.
I do that.
At Tommy N.
I'm Dutch. I'm different.
Okay, fair. The Americans say that, and I think that's what we all say.
Again, cultural difference.
Yeah.
Right at the end, I picked up another one.
Well, it's full circle with the jazz and the cultural differences and me being an asshole. So, appreciate.
You're a lovable asshole, though.
Thank you. I appreciate.
You've always been good to me.
I appreciate you being on. Thank you, Tommy.
No problem, man. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say you should join a cult, the cult of personality, Colt Cabana. I wonder if his father was in the Colt Cabana. That'd be a good cult, right? You think Vince would ever let Colt Cabana be a thing? Like, let's just say, hypothetically, Colt Cabana was on TV, and I was like, oh, I want my people to be Colt Cabana. I bet Undertaker could convince him, be like, oh, no, Vince, it's a smart move. Colt Cabana would be like, all right, fine, but I'm not happy about it. All right, enough of my weird cosplay Vince McMahon Undertaker situations. Tommy N, thanks for being on. We'll see you, not by we, I mean the people who like wrestling. We'll see you in PWG and around the country and around the world, because that's what you do. It's good having you on the show. Before we get out of here, let's get in some plugs and
Upcoming events.
all right, the best way to support ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com, Twitter and Instagram at Colt Cabana, Facebook /AOW podcast /Colt Cabana. I got a very public email, coltwrestling@gmail.com. Maybe you're a promoter who want to put me on your upcoming show or convention. Every single Monday, basically, cutmypromo.com. Somebody cuts a promo for me. Shia LaBeouf did it for me this week. How kind of him. Head on over to the new coltcabana.com. I got my P.O. box on there. I love getting some snail mail from some of you weirdos out there sending me some funny shit. Upcoming this Saturday, June 27th, Elmhurst, New York, teamicw.com. Sunday, June 28th, Providence, Rhode Island, facebook.com/Beyond Wrestling. Saturday, July 4th, Mountain, Wisconsin, UTLentertainment.com. Thursday, July 9th, Appleton, Wisconsin, GlobalForceWrestling.com. At your local minor league baseball stadium. Friday, July 10th, Waterloo, Iowa, NWHOF.org. Saturday, July 11th, New Albany, Indiana, Facebook/Roundpeg Promotions. Sunday, July 12th, Houston, Texas, ClutchCityProductions.com. Friday, July 17th, Marionette Park, Illinois, AAWrestling.com. Saturday, July 18th, Clinton Township, Michigan, XICDetroit.com. July 25th and 26th, Gathering of the Juggalos, Thornville, Ohio. Thursday, July 30th, Dallas, Texas, DallasComedyHouse.com. That's the comedy show. And then August 7th through the 31st, Edinburgh, Scotland. Doing the comedy show every single night except Sunday nights. Those tickets at thestand.co.uk. Or watch me wrestle and do a live podcast every Sunday at insanewrestling.co.uk. There it is, guys. That is the show for the week. Big thank you to you at home for listening and telling a friend. I do appreciate that. Big thanks to Tommy N, Cable Guy Jeff and Stu Stone, Kid Russell and Matt Jenkins on the music, Dane Miller with that tech. How about those sponsors? Highspots.com, hundreds of full-length titles available to download, plus AMA knee pads, gear, masks, weird downloads, cheap downloads, good downloads, shoot interviews, you name it, they got it. OneHourTees.com, they help run ProWrestlingTees.com. That's how you can support your favorite person not contracted to a contract, and then they get a shitload of money for their wrestling shirts. America! That's how that shit works. TweakedAudio.com/Colt, the earbuds that I'm using. Over 30% off of free shipping just because you listen to this show. I am looking forward to these global wrestling shows. And, back to my Little League days. I was a big star in DYBA baseball. So I'm happy to get onto the baseball field. I don't know if you've ever heard this. I don't know if I've ever told the story of when Punk and I wrestled at a minor league baseball show in Rockford, Illinois. And I think I was his manager, and I dressed up in the catcher's gear, and I was announced as Enrico Palazzo. It might have been the other way around. And then we did the whole scene from Naked Gun, where I took off the mask, and he's like, "You're not Enrico Palazzo." And then it just was a whole to-do. That was like 13 years ago. But that's the first thought I have about like, you just got to fuck around with that shit, man. You just got to be a goofball. I mean, if there's a catcher's gear and an umpire's outfit, you wear that. You bring that baseball bat to the ring. You know, I think I saw the Super Bucks. The Super Bucks. I like that name better, actually. I think I saw the Young Bucks. Super Kick PJ Black, who was on the show last week, in a picture from the Global Force Entertainment. Good on you. You take what you got. Those are called special gifts. And that special gift is a show at a minor league baseball stadium. All right, I'm out of here. Baseball's on. Cubs are doing well. That is the show for this week. This has been The Art of Wrestling. For Colt Cabana, I'm Colt Cabana. Thanks.
Dit is de podcast van Colt Cabana, de kunst van het professioneel worstelen met professioneel worstelaar Tommy End.
How do you say thanks in Dutch?
Dankjewel.
Dankjewel.
Yeah, that's quite good.
Because I say thanks.
Yeah.
Dankjewel.
Dankjewel. Thank you. Easy.
Donkey?
Dank je.
Oh, thank you.
That's more Japanese.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I give up.